Recently I produced a video that focused on the most evil individuals from a race of killers known as Yautja. However, not all predators are purely malevolent, and we have witnessed frequent examples of more heroic behaviour from these hunters. In this upload, I will try to find occasions where Yautja warriors have achieved greatness, exhibited bravery, displayed selfless acts, and even rescued those that they most commonly hunt as prey from perilous situations. After identifying these qualities, I will attempt to rank the top 5 most heroic Yautja. I am extremely conscious that whenever I make a top 5 video, I'm taking a huge risk. This is because no matter how I rank my chosen individuals, I'm always going to upset many members of the audience who would have ordered the characters differently or chosen other candidates entirely. Please remember that this is an opinion-based video on fictional characters and I do not know the exact answers. All I can do is take a look at the text available and formulate an impartial opinion on what is there. So in order to be as accurate as possible, I will first need to determine what I mean by heroic. According to various dictionary definitions, this word involves anything that is admired for their courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. An individual who selflessly endangers themselves in order to help others. Many predators come to mind when reading that definition, so in order to rank my selections, I will analyse each entry for the following criteria. Courage. How brave was the Yautja in adverse circumstances? Outstanding achievements. What has the Yautja achieved that makes it more special than others in its species? Noble or selfless qualities. When has the predator put itself in danger for the greater good of others? The individual that can boast the most impressive examples of the above will be determined as my winner. Before I begin my countdown, I would like to give 2 honourable mentions to individuals who almost made my list, such as Greyback, who showed nobility in saving Captain Raphael Adelini in 1718 from his mutinous crew. I will also mention Scarface from Concrete Jungle, who bravely cleaned up the streets of New Way City, although this was more of a redemption story. I came close to putting these individuals on my list, but decided against it, feeling that others suited the heroic criteria more accurately. So with that explained, I will introduce my 5th place entry. Ahab's story revolves around his relentless century-long pursuit of the engineers as he tries to hunt what he considers the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Therefore his bravery cannot be questioned. During his expedition, he encounters Galgo Helder, whom he forces into helping him locate an engineer. Despite his use of coercion, the two work together and develop a unique bond, slaying a variety of deadly beasts. During these encounters, the two display selfless acts as they save each other's lives on numerous occasions. Ahab is highly resourceful, building xenomorph traps and also incredibly protective of those he cares about. This side of his character is showcased when he heroically rescues Galgo and Angela from pig-like alien creatures as well as xenomorphs. Ahab also meets the final criteria of outstanding achievements as he defeats a champion Yautja from another clan to be accepted as a member of their tribe. Ultimately, Ahab's most impressive achievement is fulfilled as he claims the skull of an engineer with the help of Galgo Helder. Without any doubt, Ahab is a heroic individual who deserves a place on my list. At number 4, I have chosen the real hero from AVP, being Scar. During the events of AVP, audiences were introduced to 3 unblooded Yautja who were on an initiation hunt that went very wrong. Of these 3 warriors, only one possessed the potential to be a true hero. The individual known as Scar would go on to kill several humans and was the only member of his clan to kill a xenomorph and become blooded. Quite an achievement when you consider that the rest of his tribe were slain by the aliens. Scar also proved to be a noble individual as he adhered to the honour code by sparing Charles Wayland Bishop when he noticed his cancer-ridden lungs. It was only after Wayland attacked him with a flamethrower that he decided to kill his foe in self-defense. Scar continued to exhibit his selfless qualities when he worked with and rescued Lex on numerous occasions throughout the film. This was clearly the case when he valiantly teamed up with her to help defeat the towering xenomorph queen. Despite courageously fighting this creature and fulfilling his greatest achievement, Scar would pay the ultimate price and succumb to his injuries. However, we are all well aware that dying in battle is the most noble end to a Yautja's life, so even in death, Scar is heroic. Despite dying honourably, this character's demise would cause a huge problem for the rest of his species, and in particular, my third place entry, the predator that we all know as Wolf. This predator was summoned to clean up the mess caused at the end of AVP. When the abomination burst out of Scar's chest, there was only one predator that was brave enough to answer the call. Wolf would leave Yautja Prime and head to Earth alone to clean up a xenomorph outbreak. This courageous Yautja would track the facehuggers to the sewers and use himself as bait to engage multiple xenomorphs single-handedly. He would continue to battle two xenomorphs simultaneously, getting the better of them with his bare hands. Considering how easily the predators from AVP were killed by these creatures, that is some achievement. However, it is certainly not Wolf's most impressive victory. After falling down an elevator shaft and seriously injuring himself, Wolf would bravely soldier on in his relentless pursuit of the Predalien. Once he tracked the monstrous beast, he engaged it in a one-on-one encounter. Despite being greatly outmatched by the larger hybrid, Wolf would rid himself of his weapons to accept his greatest challenge, a fight with the Predalien. In this scene, Wolf almost knows that he's going to die, but relishes the challenge, embracing his own imminent demise, and I believe this is why so many Predator fans love this character. He is exactly what we want a hero to be. He goes it alone, he displays true courage, is a massive underdog that never gives up, and always overachieves. A true hero. Ultimately, Wolf gives as good as he gets against the Predalien, and it is the blast from the nuclear bomb that kills him. His fight against the abomination and stopping the xenomorph infestation are arguably Wolf's greatest achievements, however this is not really why he's on my list. The most heroic trait that I admire about Wolf is his noble, selfless nature. Wolf travels to Earth for the good of others and likely knows that this is a one-way ticket. This predator makes the journey not to selfishly take trophies, but to selflessly help others. Wolf not only saves his species from the abomination, but also saves mankind from a xenomorph outbreak. It is for this reason that Wolf takes third place on my list. The next entry is my personal favourite predator of all time, simply because of his heroism and his prowess as a warrior. This individual was not only heroic by nature, but also by name, as it was called Yindi, meaning brave one. He is of course better known as Dashande, or Broken Tusk. When it comes to outstanding achievements, this predator is the owner of so many firsts. He was the first Yautja to slay a xenomorph unarmed, and the first of his clan to kill two xenomorphs in his initiation hunt. Hunting came so naturally to this Yautja that he would deliberately limit himself to spears and wrist blades during subsequent hunts, as a plasma caster would take the challenge out of the sport. The successes of this predator were legendary, as he claimed over 50 xenomorph skulls, as well as that of a queen. During the events of Prey, Dashande would add to his impressive tally of achievements, killing hordes of xenomorphs, a mutinous youngblood Yautja, and even helped slay another xenomorph queen. Aside from displaying massive courage to take on multiple xenomorphs alone, Dashande would exhibit valour on numerous other occasions during this hunt. From the start of the mission, Dashande is seriously injured in an accident and is abandoned to die by his students. Despite this, Broken Tusk is nursed back to health by the humans and soldiers on to stop the xenomorph infestation. Furthermore, Dashande returned the favour to his human carers and showed his noble nature when he saved Dr. Miriam Revna from the bad blood Tashindi. Subsequently, Dashande recovered her body from the remains of the helicopter crash as they tried to evade the aliens. This image perfectly symbolises Dashande as a heroic Yautja, as he respectfully carries the deceased Dr. Revna in his arms. Dashande's selfless persona is elucidated further when he joins forces with Michiko Noguchi to exterminate the entire nest of xenomorphs. What I love about Dashande is how he puts himself in harm's way to save another species. Broken Tusk even goes as far as to destroy members of his own race to see that justice is served for members of another species. It is this quality that makes him so heroic. He's not just a hero to other predators, but he is our hero. The following passage perfectly describes Dashande's heroism. Dashande had gone into 3 nests before this one, but always with fully stocked burners and at least a handful of armed Yautja with him. Not to mention that he felt like a month-old jet turd. His side ached from the drone attack, and each deep breath burned somewhere inside. From his experience and the way he felt, the wounds were fairly serious. Well, nothing to be done about it. He wasn't afraid. Blooded warriors seldom were in battle, but he accepted that dying could come easily here. He hoped it would come with honour. For me, this passage perfectly epitomises what it means to be a heroic Yautja, displaying bravery, outstanding achievements, and selfless acts. Like any great predator, Dashande fully embraces death and does not shy away from imminent doom. Even after he is fatally wounded by the Queen, his final act outlines his selfless nature perfectly. Dashande gives Noguchi his clan marking before finally succumbing to his wounds. Therefore, Dashande dies the most valiant and honourable death whilst passing the torch to another worthy warrior. It was incredibly difficult for me to place my favourite Yautja as the runner-up. However, I have to be impartial in these videos, and I honestly think that I have found a more heroic Yautja. The one known as Kail was born into a time where his ancient ancestors needed a hero. The Hishq-10 were a smaller, more primitive strand of the modern predator that lacked the strength and intelligence to fight off the invasion from an insectoid race known as the Amengi. This parasitic species would oppressively rule the planet for hundreds of years, using the Hish for slave labour, food, experiments, and entertainment in the form of gladiatorial sports and game hunting. It was during these gladiatorial fights that a brave and heroic Yautja would rise. Centuries of evolution would see Kail born into this unforgiving environment where the largest of the Hish species were selected to partake in this brutal blood sport. This Yautja would use his abnormal intelligence to form a rebellion against his masters while simultaneously appearing loyal to them. He secretly dedicated himself to liberating his people and gradually allied himself with other powerful slaves throughout the established territories. In contrast, the Amengi rulers grew so affluent and arrogant that they failed to see the threat that they had created. Kail and his chosen tribe would wait for the perfect moment to strike their oppressors before orchestrating a strategic insurrection against the Amengi army. Within days, the Amengi leadership was usurped as they faced the onslaught of countless oppressed Hish generations, culminating in these brave warriors. Ultimately, Kail liberated his entire race and achieved the greatest victory of his species. Upon overthrowing the tyranny of the Amengi, Kail seized one of the larger carcasses, cut out the external shell, and created body armour for himself, wearing his enemy as a trophy. This act would in turn inspire all subsequent Yautja through to contemporary times. In addition to this, Kail would gather the technology left behind from the Amengi and lay the foundations for predator society. The Yautja species would subsequently blend the scientific technology of the Amengi with the more primitive aspects of their own culture to carve a new identity for themselves as a race of warriors. Eventually, the Yautja became a race of hunters, taking trophies from their quarry in order to honour their liberators' methods against the Amengi. A true hunting tribe was formed, and these were the first predators, with Kail being the first hunter and a legend to his species. He would forever be known as the Alpha Predator. Without the bravery of this predator, it is likely that the Yautja would still be cowering from the Amengi's rule. It was the Alpha's bravery that allowed for the uprising, and he selflessly put himself in the line of fire to liberate his people from tyranny. Without this predator, there would be no Yautja. He is the saviour of his people, and what can be more heroic than that? It is therefore right that I crown the Alpha as the most heroic Yautja. I hope you enjoyed this video and could at least understand my choices, even if you did not agree with them. If you think that I am way off the mark, then please list your top 5 heroic Yautja in the comment section, as well as other videos that you'd like to see. This was Schizofenik, but until next time, it's goodbye from me. Take care.